adored Con. It was like the story of the Sleeping Beauty. It was as though Con had been put to sleep by an evil fairy spell, but given a small reprieving spell by a good fairy, which offered salvation. Mary D. forced Dad to acknowledge Con in terms of his art from his earliest days. I don't know that Con's artwork was world class, but the family, including Con, thought that it was, and that was all that mattered. Dad always praised Con's artwork wholeheartedly and sincerely. It was hard for Con's art to be world class since he was red-green colourblind. He also started out as a left-handed person who was forced to become right-handed. However, he persevered with his art and did produce some interesting original works, as well as copies of old masters. For me, his real talent was in woodwork. It was in his genes. His paternal grandfather had been a carpenter, and his maternal grandfather and Uncle Charlie were timbermen. Uncle Charlie created some furniture pieces too. In 1956, when the Olympics came to Melbourne, we visited Mary D. and her flat in St Kilda. As well as the Olympics, television came to Australia. There was a small electrical goods store along Fitzroy Street near Mary D.'s flat. There was a TV in the window that was continually on. Commuters coming home from work would line the pavement 3 rows deep to watch the television. Once they had cleared, Con and I would race down and have the TV to ourselves. There was just one problem. If you watched it at the front, you couldn't hear anything because of the traffic. If you got into the door alcove, you could hear, but you couldn't see anything. The ideal spot was on the corner of the alcove and the street. So I would stand there and Con would squat in front of me, and we would each use our left eye and right ear. Decades later, I drew this cartoon and Con framed it. As a child, Con enjoyed our times with our extended family and the Sanko and Walsh family, associations that have lasted to the present day. Con was a strong swimmer and very tough physically. Once he swam to an island off the Queensland coast and back again. The current took him 7 kilometres along the coast away from his car. He walked back barefooted. He left school in about year 9 and went to work as a panel beating apprentice. The work didn't suit him, and he managed to obtain a clerical position with the Commonwealth Public Service in what was then the Department of Air. Connell was a conscript at 20. He volunteered to go to Vietnam. He never spoke to me about his experiences there. He did train to do underwater work and I think to disarm bombs, but I don't know if he used those skills in the war. After the Australian troops were recalled, he went back to the public service, but was retired on health grounds with disability superannuation. I believe that was because of his mental state after the war. For many years, he had to attend medical checkups to see if he had recovered sufficiently to resume work. It was rather poignant. He would get into a stew about the medical each time. His reclusive nature was coming to the fore, and he desperately did not want to go back to work. He asserted to me that he was fine and that the department had made a mistake. If only he knew what to do at the appointment that would convince them to continue his super and leave him alone. Every time he managed to produce the magical behaviour to achieve his desire, but he had no idea what that was. Connell never complained about the problems he had, not even into the depths of his woes with skin cancer. He developed an incredibly high pain threshold. He preferred to focus on what he could do, never on what he could not do. When he was no longer able to paint, he did woodwork. When he could not use the lathe and complicated dovetail joints were beyond him, he made wooden frames. When the frames were beyond him, he took up reading. When that failed, he got a new TV that he could sit close to. Once that was too difficult, He did his small, shuffling steps around the backyard to keep his circulation going. It's a fair comment to say that he ignored small problems and then they grew into big ones, like the small beginnings of his skin cancer. While the rest of us acknowledge that no man is an island and that we should check in with our doctors regularly, especially when we see signs of trouble, Con had a different view. Con sought medical help only when he could no longer manage, and that usually involved a trip to emergency. He was a true recluse. In recollection, I think Mum had tendencies that way too. He was creative and inventive, but like many men living on their own, careless about looking after himself. He never wore glasses. He said that would make him feel old. Magnifying glass. However, he did give up alcohol and tobacco early in his adult life. He looked after his teeth. It was a very compassionate Bendigo dentist who took one look at him and immediately made a doctor's appointment for him, gave him the details and told him he had to attend. He did what he was told, and that led to the care he received from the Bendigo health nurses, palliative care people and Benetas. He was still a bit cross with the dentist for her interference. Privately, I blessed her. He was able to stay in the family home in Bendigo thanks to the support of the Bendigo health nurses, palliative care people, Benetas, and neighbour Hunter Gill. He also enjoyed the friendship of Marjorie King during her time in the Strand and even after she and Dr. Neville left the stream. Our mother lived until she was almost 73, but Con made it to almost 74, thanks to those supports. He had only 7 days in the Bendigo Hospital and hospice at the end, and he died peacefully. The hospital and the hospice were wonderful. I cannot speak highly enough of the people and organisations involved in supporting Con over the years and towards the end. He was blessed to live at the Strand and in Bendigo. Okay, that's the finish of that one.
That was lovely, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you. And we go straight to the next one, like Amazing Grace.
I'm the invisible one.
The inlaid wood leaders. Inlaid wood. Amazing.
The sound effects. The sound effects.
He was very handsome, wasn't he? He probably never thought it, but it just that photo that you just had up. Yes, he was lovely. No training or anything. He's made to use his right hand. He was colourblind.
What's happening now?
Just a song.
That's why I'm changing over. You hearing the sound all right, people?
It's a bit broken up my end.
Okay. So you're getting some sound.
Yep.
Very,
It's sort of coming out
very, very broken.
very broken, right?
We're certainly less than expert at this, but we'll,
It's coming out of the wrong.
is it coming out of the wrong speaker or something?
It's coming out here.
Oh,
No, it's supposed to be.
oh
No, it's
well,
supposed to be in the right. I don't know.
Not too bad.
No, it's set properly.
it is.
Uh,
Well, will I keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but we
Yes,
don't
yes.
need that now.
Now I'm getting rid of it. So it's broken up, guys.
Okay, yeah, the technology will beat you every time. Okay, now I would like to ask you to join with me and observe 1 minute's silence. You might say a silent prayer according to your own spiritual tradition. Practice a short meditation or simply be present in the moment. We begin now.